Hello, my name's Amanda and this is Suddenly Autistic, which is the video diary where I basically talk about my experience as a late diagnosed autistic person. Oh, I did catch it and it went away again. So that's this. I haven't videoed anything for a while because a lot's been going on in my life. And actually I haven't even been very well. So I haven't really had the capacity to share, not in real time anyway, but there's been a lot going on, a lot in my life and a lot as it relates to autism, as everything does when you're autistic, because it's like, in a lot of ways, my Suddenly Autistic is like me becoming human again. Me becoming human, but not human. I'm autistic, which is different in my head still to being just human. Because just being a person, I suppose I should say person, just being a person, there's this whole thing that goes along with being a person in the world, and you've got your individuality and you're this and you're that. But it's so different, it's so alien to me that I felt like an alien. And this is a bit of a tangent, but anyway. So it almost feels like now I know I'm autistic. I also have ADHD. At the same time as getting those diagnoses, I got a complex PTSD and also generalised anxiety disorder diagnosis. And there have been times over the 2 years or so, 2 and a bit years since I've been diagnosed, where I felt like I was getting better from those two more mentally illness elements of my diagnosis. Things that have happened in my life more recently have showed me that symptomology, those patterns, those disabling features are still very much present in my life when I'm overwhelmed. So, the complex PTSD, I have been struggling with things like that. Not so much, but yeah, actually I could say yes. So I've been struggling with being mentally ill, which has all stemmed from the death of my husband's father, so my father-in-law, and I kind of feel like I should qualify it. It wasn't that he passed in a way that was particularly sad or whatever. It was all very much expected, and these things happen. He was elderly and had been ill for some time. It's no element of that, or even that we're missing him, because you do, and things change, but for me it's very much the autistic side of change. What my husband's my father-in-law lived with us for 18 years, for basically the whole time he was over in this country, and he was a big part of the lives of us, the day-to-day lives, every day, and also that of our children who are now young adults. So inevitably, when somebody in your nuclear family dies, it changes everything. So that's what's triggered this, and he passed away in September. I haven't really been in a good place to make content since then. Between September and now, which is now April, which isn't very long at all really, a lot has changed, including the fact that we got our house ready for sale, we sold our house and we've moved on. I have had time off work because I couldn't function basically, and probably needed to get some mental health help, which I have had, and have some time out. And then I've started to pick myself up as best I can and get back into the working routine. Having said that, I'm still low capacity. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what's happened, and that's why you haven't seen me here. So I don't really have anything of substance really to talk about in this video, other than to say, hi, I'm still here. I will be unpicking and unpacking and going through each stage of the journey that I've been on, both as I was going to say as an individual and through how that sort of intersects with my autism. But like I said, I mean, being autistic is like just coming alive. It's like being reborn. So getting my diagnosis was coming into myself and understanding myself. So I guess what I can do is talk about each of the big life challenging things that have gone on, and how being autistic has what sort of flavour of journey I've been on, or how that's informed my journey from as much as I can understand that, only being one person. I mean, I'm a scientist, and I know you can't do an experiment with only one subject. You need, your variables and your control. And so anyone's life, it's a narrative history. I can't say, well, this is my autism and that is whatever. I don't know what I would have been like or how I would have responded had I been otherwise. But what I do know now, as I'm getting used to myself and understanding and learning more, is I can see myself as a whole entity, a whole autistic self with my ADHD too. And I can't underplay that. The ADHD, sort of the impulsivity, the energy bursts and whatever that go on, and the attention tunnels and focus, that sort of and the internal chatter that happens, these things all get dialed up in terms of their disabling elements when I'm stressed, and I have been stressed. I have had a lot of anxiety and have been quite prone to being triggered in the last few months because of all the changes. And in a nutshell, the thing that's changed is everything. Like I said, it's had a few different causes, but change is essentially something that is really hard to deal with in the autistic framework of being. And as a personality, as a person, as an individual, I have always been quite adventurous and impulsive. That's where a lot of my impulsivity has come out, and quite ready for a challenge, and not one to sort of say, ooh, I'm a bit anxious, I don't want to try that. I'd always give it a go and then deal with it and, work it out as I go. I'm more experimental. I'm quite experimental that way. So I don't, it's probably one of the only ways I don't come across as stereotypically autistic, because in lots of other ways, even though I'm a girl, female, whatever this is, woman now, I suppose, I'm pretty stereotypically autistic in most ways, except for the fact that I do like novelty and challenge and experimentation with life to a point. I mean, there's some things that are just purely dangerous and no one should try, but and I guess I'm a little bit more on the conservative side of life in that way, in that I haven't wanted to do really dangerous things, so it hasn't really turned out bad for me. But anyway, ranting, wombling, whatever. Where am I? I am at my little place called Fox Hill Hollow. This is our little off-the-grid cabin, which has living quarters mostly outside, the bedrooms inside. So it's a 20-foot shipping container. So I'll be sleeping in there tonight, and then most of my living, cooking and everything is done outside. There's an outside shower, and there's a long drop toilet, like a composting sort of whatever. Maybe not composting, maybe just sticking in a hole. Who knows what happens down there? Probably one day I'll find out. We'll have to dig another one. But anyway, there's a toilet outside. So I'm here, and really just sort of trying to wind the handle of myself up so that I can start talking to you about my suddenly autistic life. But yeah, in the meantime, I hope you guys have been well, and have maybe had a chance to look through some of the other content that I put up. Some of it's probably, interesting, some of it probably isn't, who knows, with these things. But my intention is to get back on the wagon as long as I have interesting and useful things to share, because I didn't beat myself up about having a break, purely because I needed it. And the whole channel, this channel, is to help me help myself learn more about myself and reflect on my experience as an autistic adult, to take up space. And for whatever reason, however's happened, and there's been multiple factors in this, I have as an individual felt like I cannot occupy space as myself, or that the way I show up to the world is somehow not right or not valid, or is in some way something to be ashamed of. So that plays into the PTSD, the complex PTSD, but there is an inherent shaming that comes with not knowing you're different, and going out and trying and it's very disabling, because the shaming that you get from other people, or all types of other people, close to you, far away from you, incidental, just societal, especially as a woman, I found, but probably as anyone really. It's the kind of, it instills a kind of fear in you that is primal. You are prey, in a very cruel way, because without the diagnosis I didn't even know the nature of what it was that was attracting predators to me. And if you don't know what's wrong with you, you can't change it. And even if you know what's different, say, about you, and you don't want to and shouldn't have to change it, you still have a vulnerability or a nuance about you that I've always thought of it a bit like, the trench warfare of the First World War, where I just happened to always find myself with my head sticking out. It's only a matter of time before the enemy spots you and then takes a shot at your head. But unlike in trench warfare, I guess, where I imagine that individuals would hopefully have an opportunity to go behind the trench, that's what the trench is there for, I don't, because I don't realise that's what the trench is for, you know what I mean? Something like that anyway. Going off a bit now, but anyway, that's the gist of it. So hopefully you stick around. Hopefully I do make some more videos with a narrative arc that takes you on a journey somewhere. But in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed looking at my fire. This is gorgeous. It didn't look like that earlier. It looked like a smoke bomb had gone off. It was disgusting, and the whole of our paddock was covered in smoke. In fact, I thought at one moment I heard the neighbours. We've got a neighbour at the beginning, at the start of the driveway there, and I heard their little dog yapping, and I thought, oh, here we go, he's going to come up and see what's going on with me, because he's a fireman. And I fully expected to have a little visit from the neighbour saying, hey, is everything all right? But they didn't come, so either they don't care, which is unlikely, they didn't notice, possible, or they noticed and realised that I was here and probably just really bad at starting fires. So yeah, anyway, we're all good now. I will hopefully get another video out on the weekend, and we'll go from there. Take care.